Today, we're going to talk about a name that basically became the definition of financial fraud, Bernie Madoff. I mean, this story is so wild, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. We're going to break down how one single man built a house of cards that was supposedly worth $65 billion. So, how did he do it? Let's get into it. Okay, just look at that number for a second. $65 billion. That wasn't the value of some tech company or a real estate empire. Nope. That was the imaginary number behind one of the biggest lies ever told, the single greatest fraud ever pulled off by one person. And seriously, that is not an exaggeration. It is still the largest financial fraud in US history. It completely wiped out family fortunes, destroyed charities, and just ruined so many lives. So the question that just hangs over all of this is, how? I mean, how in the world did he get away with it for decades? To really understand how it all came crashing down, you have to go back to a moment of pure global panic. The year is 2008. The entire financial world is basically on fire. And for most people, it was a terrifying crisis. But for Bernie Madoff, it was game over. See, Madoff's whole scam relied on one simple thing, a never-ending river of new money coming in. But when the markets crashed, his very wealthy clients got scared, and they needed cash, so they started asking for their money back, all at the same time. This triggered a massive run on a bank that, had no actual money in it. The magic trick was about to be exposed. So how did he keep this illusion going for so long? Well, it all came down to this brilliant and, frankly, sinister act. Think of it like a financial mullet. Respectable business in the front, and the difference between the front and the back is just staggering. On one side, you've got the legend Bernie Madoff, the former chairman of the NASDAQ, a Wall Street pioneer, a trusted advisor to the rich and powerful. This was the public face, a picture of total credibility. But behind that squeaky clean image was the lie. A secret operation on a totally different floor of his building, just printing out fake statements, making zero real trades. And all the money, billions of dollars, was just sitting in one single bank account. So yeah, let's talk about the mullets in the back. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual engine of the fraud. It was, at its heart, a classic Ponzi scheme. Now, for anyone who's not totally sure what that means, here's the simple version. A Ponzi scheme is just a shell game. You get money from a new investor, let's call her Investor B, and you use her money to pay profits to your first investor, Investor A. It makes it look like you're a genius investor, but you're not actually making any money. You're just shuffling cash around until, one day, you run out of new investors and the whole thing just collapses. And Madoff was an absolute master at this. His whole playbook was basically 4 steps. First, create this exclusive members-only club. You had to know someone to get your money in, which made people feel special and way less likely to ask tough questions. Step 2, all that cash went straight into one giant checking account. Step 3, his team would just make up trades. They'd print fake statements showing these perfectly steady returns, never anything too crazy, just nice and consistent. And finally, step 4, when somebody wanted their profits, he'd just dip into that big account of other people's money and pay them. Simple. Audacious. And for a long time, it worked. So what happened when a really smart person actually tried to question him? Well, he had a secret weapon, financial gibberish. It was like a distraction spell. He'd start talking about split strike conversions and all this other jargon that sounded super complex but meant absolutely nothing. The goal wasn't to explain anything. It was to make people feel dumb, to make them think, wow, this guy's on another level. I shouldn't even question him. And it works like a charm for decades.
Which brings us right back to 2008. Because all the financial gibberish in the world couldn't stop a global financial meltdown. That whole air of exclusivity, it couldn't stop terrified people from wanting their money back. The great unraveling had begun.
In late 2008, the wave finally crashed. Panicked clients were banging down his door, wanting their money, and they wanted it right now. The total amount they asked for? $7 billion. That was a number his scam just couldn't handle. It was the final straw. There was nowhere left to run.
And this is the moment the house of cards came down. Madoff knew the game was up, so he confessed to his sons, who, by the way, worked in the legitimate part of the business. He sat them down and told them his investment business, the thing that made their family unimaginably wealthy, was fake. His exact words were, "It's all one big lie." His sons did the right thing. They went straight to the authorities, and the very next day, Bernie Madoff was arrested. What followed was a total financial nightmare for thousands of people. But when you look past the insane numbers, the Madoff story is really this chilling, cautionary tale. It's about trust and greed and just how easy it is to be deceived in the complex world of finance.
You know, the craziest part is that Madoff wasn't just selling a fake investment strategy. He was selling trust. He was selling the idea that he was a safe harbor, an exclusive club run by a Wall Street genius. And it leaves all of us with a really tough but really important question. In a world that's filled with financial gibberish and promises that sound too good to be true, how do we ever really know who we can trust?